Here's a conversation reflecting on Chapter 15, the Creative Humanity Alliance.
So today we are diving into a really crucial pivot point in Mark Firehammer's book, The Lens That Changes Everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're stepping completely out of theory and into practice. We spent time on the premise that human systems break when connection is treated as optional.
Yeah, that was the foundation.
But now we get to the really interesting part. The question shifts from, is this true, to something much more practical. What happens when people actually begin to live this way together?
Exactly. And that brings us to Chapter 15 and the emergence of what they call the Creative Humanity Alliance, or the CHA.
The CHA.
And it's really important to frame this right. The book is clear that the CHA is not a solution or some kind of mass movement. It's just a set of early, careful experiments.
So a testing ground. And the whole thing started because they identified this core cultural problem, right?
Yes, this idea that we basically misinterpreted creativity.
How so?
Well, our systems reshaped it into something that only rewards performance, productivity, and, proof.
Right.
And in doing that, we lost sight of its original purpose, which the book says is about restoring coherence. That's the key word. Coherence between us, our bodies, and each other.
Okay, so the Alliance's methodology had to be different then.
Completely. They aren't trying to scale an idea. The framework is designed simply to hold experiences.
Well, it's experiences. I like that.
The work began with these really simple questions, like what happens when you invite people to create without attaching an outcome to it?
Or when conversation is treated less like a debate and more like a shared field.
A shared field, precisely.
But wait, if it's a shared field, does that mean you lose critical discussion? How does that work?
That's a great question, and they are very specific about it. The goal is to avoid what they call positional conflict.
Positional conflict.
Yeah, that means arguing just to win or to defend a fixed viewpoint. Instead, this is about exploring a topic together, without that defensiveness.
Okay, that makes sense. And that leads to this total redefinition of creativity itself.
It does. Inside the Alliance, creativity is explicitly not talent or self-expression.
So what is it?
It's treated as a pure restorative function, almost like a system reboot the body uses when it gets out of alignment.
Wow. And what does that do for people who, don't think of themselves as creative?
It changes everything. Because when creativity is about restoration, it stops demanding confidence from you and starts inviting curiosity.
Confidence versus curiosity.
Think about it. Confidence is what you need to sell a masterpiece. Curiosity is just what you need to notice the world around you. It lowers the barrier to entry to almost zero.
And this isn't done alone in a studio. It's always in shared spaces, right? The point is reconnection.
Always. It's about reconnection, not individual expression. But they found that creativity by itself wasn't quite enough. That durable sense of coherence only really showed up when creativity was paired with two other things.
Okay, what were they?
First was movement, but movement framed as listening to your body, not as exercise or effort.
Re-entering the body.
Yes. And second was that kind of conversation we just talked about, re-entering relationship without the need to be defensive.
So coherence isn't agreement. It's not about everyone thinking the same thing.
Not at all. It's alignment within yourself and across the group. The book suggests this is where actual cultural repair can begin, not with ideology, but with these small, repeated experiences.
Which is why it's so important to stress what the Alliance is not.
It is absolutely not a curriculum or a belief system. It's much closer to an ecosystem.
An ecosystem sharing tool.
Portable, transmissible tools, yeah.
And these tools aim to restore 4 key conditions, which are basically the inverse of what we're used to.
Right.
Creativity without performance pressure, movement without an improvement narrative, conversation without positional conflict, and finally, community without conformity.
Those are the 4 pillars.
And the really significant thing is that you can't predict what will grow inside those conditions. That unpredictability is the sign that something is actually alive.
And that brings us right back to the central idea. Repairing culture doesn't start with some grand solution. It starts with repairing the lens and then just engaging in the practice.
So here's a final thought to take with you. The book notes that when people start practicing creativity this way, as restoration, a new kind of figure starts to emerge. Not a role to claim, but a function to inhabit. The next chapter actually names that figure. So the question is, what function do you think emerges when separateness and performance are set aside for coherence?
Thanks for listening. Before moving on, take a pause and read the next chapter. The conversation for that chapter will be waiting here when you're ready.